Hey everyone, Jason here, digital marketing consultant, and in this B2B lead generation guide, you're going to learn a simple 3-stage evergreen system for perpetually generating qualified leads for your business. Timestamp table of contents in the description, along with some other helpful video links I'll be referencing throughout this guide. So let's go ahead, jump right in. The very first step to creating your own lead generation machine that runs on autopilot is, of course, creating something that attracts people to you and your business. And the best way to do that is by creating content, whether it's content here on YouTube or creating blog posts or podcasts. Now, hold on, because I'm not going to say that you need to commit to some sort of content hamster wheel where you're just constantly pumping out new videos or new blog posts every week. You don't need to do that when you're specifically trying to generate leads. All you need to do is to create 3 to 5 really great quality content posts for your ideal customer. And that's it. 3 to 5 is all you need. You don't have to commit to making 3 to 6 blog posts per month. You don't have to record a YouTube video every day. You just need 3 to 5 quality pieces of content. We're going for quality here. I almost said quantity. We're going for quality here, not quantity. And those 3 to 5 pieces of content are all you're going to need to create an evergreen lead generation system. And so what makes these 3 to 5 pieces of content different from everything else you may have already seen is it's going to speak to one customer, one ideal customer. So I'll link up in the description to a full-blown tutorial that goes through all of these different questions, and we'll actually walk you through how to use Facebook Audience Insights tool and the data your website has already collected for you using Google Analytics. Here we're going to focus on 2 questions at the very end of our ideal customer process to make sure that we actually understand who our ideal customer is. Now, as we dive in here, it's important to note that simply knowing basic demographic information or giving your ideal customer a label, like they're an entrepreneur or business owner or they're a freelancer, you need to be a lot more specific than that. You need to dig deeper than just surface level demographic data and actually be able to answer and know specifically what type of business is your ideal customer in. What is their job title? What do they sell? How do they actually make money? And you need to be that specific to ensure that your content stands out across everyone else's. And in stage number 3, we'll talk about how to make sure your content actually gets in front of them, because we're not just going to create content and hope the Google and Facebook algorithms give us our ideal customers. Now, when it comes to the different types of content you can make, not all content is created equal. So you can do blogging via a WordPress blog, you can do a podcast, or you can do videos here on YouTube. Remember, you only have to do 3 to 5 of them. We're not creating a whole production pipeline here. So what the big advantage of going with a blog is you can actually go over to a website like Upwork.com and you can hire someone for a couple hundred to a few thousand, just depending upon how good you want the content to be, to actually write the blog post for you. Or you can actually pay someone to create a podcast script for you or help you outline your video, so you don't have to come up with all of this by yourself. But of course, if you have the time, you can do all of these yourself as well. I highly recommend starting with video. Blog post is number 2, and then podcast is number 3, specifically when it comes to lead generation. And when it comes to the type of content you should be making, there's only 3 types. We have how-to, reviews, and a decision guide. So a how-to is just a step-by-step tutorial that shows your ideal customer exactly how to achieve something that they want. Reviews simply look at products or services directly related or somewhat related to your company product or service, and you go through the good and the bad. Now, it's important that they're similar and related, not the same. Otherwise, it's going to be hard for a viewer or reader to take you seriously if you're reviewing one of your direct competitors' products. Now, this last one is a decision guide, and this is essentially just weighing pros and cons of a decision that you would have to make. A very simple example of this would be weighing the pros and cons of hiring someone full-time versus going to some sort of platform or hiring a one-time consultant. And so with these 3 different types, you're going to have one of each, because you're doing a minimum of 3 pieces of content. And then the last 2, if you decide to go above and beyond the 3 minimum, you can pretty much choose whatever. Now, it might be hard, even with these three different types, to know, okay, but what specifically should the content be about? And this is where our customer avatar profile comes in. Again, I'll link up in the description and the cards to a video that takes a much deeper dive on this. We're just going to blaze through the last two questions, and that is, what results are they after, and what do they think is getting in the way or the perceived roadblocks of the results that they're trying to achieve? Now, spending 20 to 30 minutes answering this question, once you have your ideal customer, is going to make it very, very clear what type of content or what your content should ultimately be about. So as a quick example, let's say we were trying to attract people to a YouTube growth consulting service. So our ideal customer is someone who's trying to grow a YouTube channel and have that be their primary source of income. So what would their desired result be? Well, they probably want to grow their channel faster. They'd like to make a full-time income from their channel so they can leave their current job or wherever they're currently making money. So what do they think is getting in the way of that? Well, they probably think they need more views than they're getting right now. They're probably not happy with their subscriber growth rate, and maybe they think their video quality isn't up to par, or they need to improve the ranking of their videos. So with this very simple list, we can come up with three different ideas for a how-to tutorial, right? So the first one could be how to use playlists to rank your videos. We're specifically talking to someone who is struggling to rank their videos, and we're talking to our ideal customer who is presumably struggling growing their channel and trying to rank their videos. The next one, we could do a podcast where we interview one of our previous clients or students, and they can share their story of success. This is pretty much a case study, which is another great type of content, although I don't always recommend starting with that. Use one of the first three, and maybe content piece 4 or 5 be a case study. And then finally, we have review of budget gear for recording. So we could go through a video talking about budget gear or easy ways to improve video quality for someone who feels like their video quality isn't up to par. And just in case you're still feeling like you're not quite sure what your content 3 to 5 pieces should be about, then you always have these tools like SEMrush, BuzzSumo, Answer the Public, and of course the YouTube suggestions box, where you can actually go to those places and type in either your competitors or type in some of your ideas that you came up when you asked those two questions, the results and roadblocks, to see if other content is already working or ranking. And so once you've done that, we're ready for stage number 2, which is going to be the call to action. Now this is really, really important, because this is going to be where you ensure that your content isn't just something that someone reads, watches, or listens to and goes, oh, that was nice, and then moves on with their day, right? Because you need to generate leads. You want leads for your business. And so the way that we do this is, now that we've built some rapport with your content, it's time to tell your prospects exactly what to do next. And so there are 3 different types of calls to action, and you want to use at least 3 separate calls to action inside of each one of your pieces of content. So the first type of call to action we have is the softest one on this list, and that's simply directing people to other pieces of content. The second type we have is telling them that they can book a free discovery or strategy call with you. So this is great if you don't already have some sort of follow-up sequence via email, or you don't have a lead magnet, which is going to be the next type. So you can always change out what your call to action is going to be later in your content. You can always redo the video or update your blog post, but this is the fastest way to get people on the phone so you can actually close them. And presumably they have some rapport with you because they've already engaged with your content, as opposed to you just trying to run a cold ad and then immediately ask for their contact information. So this content as a buffer between I don't know who you are and actually getting on the phone is so critical to improving your close rate. Now the third type we have is offering something of value in exchange for their contact information. So instead of trying to get them on the phone immediately, you offer them something called a lead magnet. Now, if you're not quite sure what a lead magnet is, or you don't know what you should be using as a lead magnet, I'll link up in the description to a full-blown video that walks through different types of B2B lead magnets you can use to attract different types of lead magnets you can use to convert your prospects. Now, let's go ahead and go through each one of these individually for some examples. Now, the first one is going to be quite easy because I've done it multiple times in this video. Again, I'll link up in the description and the cards to a video that takes a much deeper dive on this. And just in case you already had your ideal customer already ironed out, I also referenced another video that walks through creating different lead magnets for B2B lead generation. And so that's just a quick example of how you can link to other pieces of content. It's not going to be a huge call to action, especially if you only have 3 to 5 pieces of content, but it's okay to link as much as you can between those different 3 to 5 pieces of content. Now, the next type of call to action, we're going to take a look at this blog post by Nick Kalinda. And here, what he's done for his lead magnet is instead of creating a whole new separate piece of content or creating another piece of media, he's gone ahead and created a PDF version of his blog post because he makes really long and in-depth blog posts. So it's kind of 2 reasons I brought this particular example. Number 1, this is a great blog to look at when it comes to creating awesome content. He's grown an entire business out of making great content pieces, and it's proof that quality can actually beat quantity when it comes to number of creatives. And then number 2, you can see that it doesn't have to be something super crazy valuable or super new and exciting. Simply offering a PDF version of his in-depth guide is enough to get people to provide their contact information. Now, another great blog to learn how to include calls to action inside of your content is going to be digitalmarketer.com. So this particular example is one that talks about email marketing, and throughout the blog, not only do they have actual graphics where they ask people to click through to one of their opt-in pages to learn more about their free trial, they also directly link specific words in their blog posts that direct people to sales pages or opt-in pages. So both of these blogs are really good examples of what you can do and the power of creating content. Digital Marketer does a great job with calls to action everywhere where it doesn't feel spammy, and Nick Kalinda's blog is really great for understanding what does great content look like. And again, you only need 3 to 5 pieces of content. You don't need to be posting 3 or 4 different pieces of content per week or day. And so once we have all of that, you've figured out who your ideal customer is going to be. You've been very specific, which means your content is going to speak directly to them, which means it's going to do a very good job of building rapport. You've made sure to include at least 3 different calls to action. You can have all of them be book a strategy call, or they could all be simply opt in for a lead magnet. But you want at least 3 in whatever combination of types you choose. And the last step of this process is making sure our content gets in front of our ideal customer. And the best way to do this is with paid advertising. Yes, I know we have to pull some money out of our wallet and do something, but simply creating some content and waiting for a blog post to rank on Google or the YouTube algorithm to finally recognize its genius is just not going to be it's not a fun waiting game, because you're looking at anywhere from 3 to 6 months before that process starts, and I'm guessing you want leads right now. So for anywhere from $5 to $10 a day, you can go over to LinkedIn and Facebook and start running ads specifically to people based upon the companies that they are interested in, as well as their actual job titles. And so what you'll do is you'll drive traffic to your content. And this is going to dramatically reduce the cost per click, because when it comes to driving traffic, when you're promoting content as opposed to promoting a sales page or a lead capture page, your costs are going to be significantly lower. So your budget's going to go a lot further. You're going to have a lot more number of occurrences getting in front of your ideal customer. And if you're on a really tight budget, then I actually recommend starting with Facebook, since LinkedIn tends to cost a little bit more, even though you're just promoting content. Now, if you're going to be doing videos, then of course YouTube advertising is going to be your best friend. And for just a couple cents a view, you can get your content video that has your call to action in front of your ideal customers. You're going to want to use something called in-market audiences to do that. I have a ton of different lead generation tutorials on how to use YouTube to generate leads, so I'll link up in the description and the cards on how to do that. So thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope you got some value from this video, and most importantly, you can see the power of creating your own evergreen lead generation system, and that you don't have to be a content slave in order to leverage the power of content marketing, although you still need to use a little bit of paid ads to make sure your system continues to run smoothly and perpetually. So make sure you check out the links in the description to the other videos I talked about, how how to put together your ideal customer avatar, the next step if you're looking for ideas for your lead magnet, and of course, how to actually run YouTube ads for just $5 a day generating leads. So hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dive videos just like this one, and until the next, keep building the business you love.